If anybody here knows something about this LeetCode interview feature, please do tell me, because I want to know what this is. Was there any post here about it? I think there is a post about it. Looking to hire new talent, LeetCode interview is here for you. In 3 easy steps, with no downloads or IDE required, you can get comprehensive test results with real-time code evaluation. But aren't questions from LeetCode Bank bad because everybody can Google them so easily by copy-pasting statement? I wonder what part of their revenue this will be. Right now, their main and only source of income is LeetCode Premium, right? Do they do anything else? People want pairing of participants, like a lot. Alright, chat. Not live on YouTube yet. I think it is on live now. Hi Pranav, Frightened, Hex. Hi everybody. The agenda is basically to solve a few problems. Today was a busy day for me because there was Google Kickstart, which I won. You can watch it now. YouTube channel. Here we go. Kickstart. First place. I need to create some thumbnail quickly. Best to do it today, otherwise my videos are now all looking the same. Well, this one, first place, it might be interesting for people to watch. Actually, too many contest videos recently and not a lot of lectures. Yeah, so there was Kickstart, then Open Cup. Russian Open Cup is still ongoing. I did 3 hours. And then I left to make this stream. Congrats. Thank you a lot. Self-promo, of course. I think I'm allowed to promote myself and my content. Jump game 7, Stone game 8. I think they like those two problems, if they create so many versions. What do we have here? Oh, and a ping on Discord. I am also thinking about switching regular timing of streams from Saturdays to Sundays, because on Saturday more often I have something else to do. Like when you meet with your friends, people prefer Saturday because on Sunday evening they cannot stay late very much because there is Monday. Also, it seems that more other events like contests and everything like that, more events are on Saturday, and more often I have a collision because of my streams. So starting from next week, Saturday is moved to Sunday. I will have weekend streams on Sunday, I think at least. Then maybe I can also do something on Friday when I have time. I'm not sure about that. So no Saturdays anymore. What do we have? Minor string and 2 integers, min and max jump, standing at 0. You can jump by at least this and at most that. And you need to jump to 0. Say if you can reach the very end. Fine, easy. Good warm-up problem then. there is a binary string. Initially you can be here, and you can jump by, let's say, from 4 to 6 or from 4 to 7. Jump size must be in interval from 4 to 7. What does it mean? Then starting from here you can go to anywhere in 1, 2, 3, 4. You can be here, here, 5, 6, 7. This interval is now allowed. What then? But only if there is a 0 there. You can only jump between zeros. So whenever here we have 0, we can jump from here. So the idea will for sure be this. For every index, if I'm allowed, then make interval from I to I plus min jump up to I plus max jump. For example, I plus 4 up to I plus 7. Make this allowed. And later, when I will be here, I will check if there is 0 there. I will make here this condition, if s of I is 0 and x is here. This is allowed. When I'm at I'm making the whole interval, this big interval, allowed, and I don't care right now what exactly characters are there, 0 or 1. And when I will be there with my index I will only, if there's 0, consider being here and really jumping forward. Thank you all for congrats for Google Kickstart. Today's weekly contest, 3rd and 4th. Is that what I'm doing now? To be honest, I don't know this thing we are looking at, if it's from weekly contest or not. What are the names of those weekly 3rd and 4th? Maniac, tell me the titles. Okay, how to make something allowed. There are multiple ways for that, but basically I want to mark interval or something. What's easy is to add 1 to an interval. And the method for that is called running sums. Running sum or prefix sum. Where prefix sums are more commonly used like this. When you want to know prefix, sum of the prefix, you go from left to right and you add up values as you go. And this way you can, usually they allow us to say what's the sum of interval. Here we have the opposite task. We need to add +1 to interval, and then as we go we need to know what is value everywhere. Now the solution is to add +1 here at the beginning, at this spot, and later subtract 1. So right now, let's say I'm adding on 1 here and nothing else. Everything else is 0. But as I go from left to right, at every position, just like when computing prefix sums, I add value from the left. So if there was here previously 0, anyway, I will get 1, I will get 1, 1, 1, 1. So adding 1 here, it allows me to propagate it to the right, but I only want to make it last until here, so I need to put -1 there. Put +1 here at the beginning of my interval where I want to say +1. -1 just after that, and now as you propagate to the right, always saying something like a of I plus equal a of I minus 1. 1 will be propagated here, here, and there, and here it will cancel. It will become 0. Running difference array? I guess so. I wouldn't use this name here, but yeah, running difference array makes sense too. How much of a gap is there between you realizing the solution and you being ready to explain it to everyone in simple language? Depends on the problem. If it's something very easy, then it's seconds, because I will just think about something as I go. But for sure, sometimes it would help for me to stop for a few minutes and think about the best explanation. If we can do DFS, DFS might be too slow. Because here we don't want to say this. we don't want to say for every j in interval from I plus min jump to I plus max jump, if we say here allowed of j is true, that's bad, too slow. It's quadratic. For every position we go through maybe n positions. But instead of that, we do it in constant time. So how to make it allowed? As I explained above, we say a of I plus min jump plus plus, we add 1 here, we subtract 1 right to the end of this interval here. We do this, plus always we propagate. We do this. And this combined with that will allow us to say +1 on an interval. Then here I say fi greater than 0. This is the whole solution, but we need to also care about going out of bounds. If we do that, we're done. Hi Dev, hi Ayush. Okay, so let's move it here and let's handle off by 1 errors. Also, I'm moving this down for you to see. And do you prefer this look or is this better? I think this is better. It will be easier to see, to read this. Anyway, how the screen is dark. Right. We do this only if I is not 0, and same here. Not really the same, but only if you fit. Right. And we need to say this to say that the very first position is allowed by default. And always when we are somewhere, if there is 0 there, which allows us to be there at all, and somebody marked me as allowed, as a part of an interval, then only then I'm allowed to jump from here forward. Also, I can do it here as well. If I'm at -1, we return true, because it means I can jump from n-1. This should be one valid solution. Dark mode seems better, really, but only half of the screen. A1 should be -1. Good point. Yeah, that's actually very common mistake even for me. And it's easy to get out of bounds error. Yeah, if I just do this, then later it's propagated. So this way I'm marking everything as allowed. I need to cancel it immediately. Only those two lines together, they say that the very first position is allowed, but then everything else gets cancelled to 0. Thanks, Lakshmi, for noticing the mistake, which was very tricky. Right, that's the general solution, where it works also if from every position you're given what kind of jump size you're allowed. Because of constant size of those jumps, I think we can do something else too. What about this? I will now try to replace this with some kind of brute force. Without prefix sums. So I'm replacing this with, for every j starting from the end, I plus max jump, going down right? This normally we would do this. But I don't want to make this quadratic. This is time limit exceeded right now because of quadratic complexity. But now I will add this condition. Only do that from the end as long as you see zeros in this array A. We are not looking here at characters. I claim that this is linear, but only because of constant jump sizes. Oh, this is part of the condition. Accepted now. Why is it linear? Well, here's why. Initially, the whole array A is full of zeros with 1 here. What happens is when you see 1, also if the character in string S is proper, equal to 0, then you mark some interval here as 1s. Right? Maybe you change those from zeros to 1s. What happens later when, let's say that this one was also 1, this is bit 1, and you jump from here. Then what you marked additionally as 1s is interval like this one, which might intersect with proper previously marked 1s, but it will be to the right of them. If we start from the right and we go from 0, then we can say I'm marking you as 1, you as 1, and I won't continue and mark those because I know they are already marked. If here somebody already marked interval of size 4, and now I'm marking interval of size 4 starting from here, going to the left, then there's no need to continue there. So when I see this situation, and I need to say starting from here, going to the left, I'm marking 4 1s, then I will just mark those 2. And so on. So always the situation is that when I need to mark an interval, let's say I want to now mark this interval, either it's full of zeros and I need to mark everything, or maybe if there is a 1 somewhere already, then for sure there are also 1s here, because I previously marked some interval of the same size. This is why it's correct that I just stop whenever I see that some a of j is equal to 1. I continue only as long as I see zeros looking from the right, because when I see the first 1 going from the right, I know there are also 1s on the left, so I can stop. Equivalently, I can do this. If a of j is already marked, continue, no, break. This is perfectly fine. It is equivalent to what I had a moment before. Well, not equivalent because I added stuff here, but that's it. Right, and it's linear because every position will be marked only once, from 0 to 1. It's not that multiple times you go through the whole sequence. At most n times you can change 0 to 1. This is the second solution. Any questions about the problem? This is the guy from LRU cache video I watched, Sir Wesley. So I think you watched a video where I struggled a lot. So LRU cache was a very hard problem, for me at least. Question from Binary Search IO? Yes, I can consider for sure. Right. The link is outdated, sorry, on Cache App. But now we need to choose another problem. Also, if people prefer, then sure we can go dark mode. We solved jump game. So what now? Stone game or something else? I'm suggesting this problem, but we can do something else. Did I skip a stream? Previous week I did skip 2 streams, but not this week. Your name is OM? Right. TSP. What's TSP? Traveling salesman problem is the only thing I can think of. Not stone game again. Yes, number 8 isn't really encouraging. I will read the statement. Maybe we will solve it, maybe not. By the way, I can give you a link. Where is that? Right here. Reminder again, starting from this week, I will do streams on Sundays rather than Saturdays. You can grab a link now. And stones. Remove the leftmost X stones. Sum of the removed stones values to the player's score. And place a new stone. We merge some, we choose some prefix length, 2 or bigger, and we merge it to 1 value, and also we get that score. N is 100,000, so we cannot go with quadratic dp. Anybody knows this problem? Is it worth it? Should we do it? Dev, don't worry about it. If you got timeout last time, sure, just don't repeat stuff again, and that's it. Apparently you got timed out, not banned, so it's fine. No reason to now, stop the stream to focus on this issue. Quadratic dp, I mean, what else is this? The state, there is linear number of states. If I give you this sequence, right, then what can be the state of the game? Always some prefix was already merged to 1 value. For example, maybe this was merged to 1 value, and it is equal to something. We can compute what that is, but then it's x, the sum of first 3 values, comma 4 minus 5. There are n possible states, depending on how long prefix is merged to a single value now. And whenever you have some state like this one, you have linear number of possible decisions to make. What prefix length? Now you merge down to 1. So n states, in each of them you have n transitions, n square. Reverse linked list, I don't think that's related. I don't understand the reverse linked list algorithm, question mark. Well, I think the answer is yes, you don't understand it, but what's the point, right? Maybe N2. You can argue that the state also describes who is moving right now, but actually it doesn't really matter. The players are symmetrical, so they should make the same decision. Imagine this. Let's say we have a game where there are just numbers. Let's say numbers like this, and always a player chooses one of endpoints. So you take 7 or you take 5. And then you eat it, this is what you get to your score, and then your opponent moves, and also they take the first or the last element. And then state of game here is what's the remaining interval, Like maybe this is the remaining interval. And you might argue that we need information. If Alice is first moving, then what will be the final score optimally? And if Bob is first moving, what is the final score? But if they play by the same rules, then it doesn't matter who's Alice, who's Bob. We just can say that, oh, when they are down to this interval, let's say that we can say that first player will get 5 points more than second player. And this information is enough. We don't care if it's Alice or Bob. Also here, for the whole game, if I tell you that if Alice starts here, then she will win by 10 points. Then if Bob starts, he will win by 10 points. Same stuff in the problem above, Stone Game 8, that for this state, we don't care if Alice starts or if Bob starts. We say the starting player will win by some number of points, maybe negative. How to get competent at this? Practice. And actually I have an advice written down for that. Just read it. Huge fun for you, follow. Thank you, Tag Gaming Stream. Very nice of you. All that being said, I described here quadratic solution, which is very standard, and we need to do it faster in linear time or n log n, because n is up to 100,000, so n squared too slow. Maybe it's always good to take just all the stones or only one of them. Well, what are the transitions in quadratic DP? Let's say that brute force is... Actually, brute force is some kind of exponential recursive solution, but it's trivially n squared dp. At least it's trivial if you're a person who is able to solve a hard leet code problem. Then you should be on the level where you see how to solve this in n squared. Assuming we know how to do it in n squared, then one way of thinking how to improve the speed, is to just write down what transitions we have and see if we can use some, for example, data structure to speed it up, or any other technique. Here, dp of I, let's say that dp of I describes a situation where everything up to position I is merged into one value. Then, when I'm here, I have a choice. So, how to compute dp of I. We iterate with j from I plus 1 forward, and consider eating or merging everything up to I. Up to j, sorry. So if everything here was already merged, now I will either eat everything up to 4 or up to -5. There will be prefix sum up to I, j, from the very beginning actually, up to j. This is what I get, and then my opponent will win by this much. dp of j plus 1 says by how much the first place person to move will win, starting from this state. J plus 1, j. Everything up to j is eaten. Alright. Then if he will win by this much, then I will win by minus that. For example, if this is 10, I get minus 10. My difference, my score versus his. So the code is just this. For example, if I get 17 points, and I know that starting from that situation, he will win by 10 points until the end, then my score in total is 17 minus 10. So. Alright, dp of I is maximum out of those in the suffix with j is bigger than i's. Then I can have maximum out of this easily. The whole solution is this. dp of n-1 is, I believe, just 0. If everything up to n-1 is merged, then there are no moves anymore. Then for every previous dp of I, and again, I will define this, dp of I is remaining score, first player minus second player, if now everything up to I is merged. Hence this is 0, and at the end I will return dp of 0. Will you consider covering subset dp on your channel where we reduce n factorial to n2 to nth power? Good question. If I ever get back to dp videos, yeah. And as a reminder, it's better if you put suggestions in YouTube comments or in Discord server, because then other people can upvote, and also it's not that during a stream I need to stop and think about it and then forget. YouTube comments or Discord server is better for suggestions. How many hours a day? Right now, on average, 3 hours. Unless we count my whole job, like teaching, then it's more. Actually, if we don't count it, then it's less than that. Alright, yeah, we iterate from the right, and from suffix, we choose maximum out of this. Let's create a variable for that. Do we need long? No, because the sum of values 10 to 4th power, that many values, it will not exceed 10 to 9th power. Anyway, we want maximum in the suffix. By default, let's say it's minus infinity. And here, instead of this, I will just say max suffix. This is in this suffix maximum out of those values. And whenever I'm at position I say, maybe this. Let's leave this as a brute force. I just want to say dp of I is max suffix, and max suffix can now be this value. Boom, 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 I and I. At this position, we have this prefix sum up to here minus that, and that's a possibility that should be considered from now onward. So any future I, so any smaller I, will be this way allowed to go to that value, get that value. And that's it, linear solution. It was just enough to write down the transitions of quadratic solution and see that always we take the same difference. Let me actually go through some kind of stupid example to show you what's going on. There are indices, I equal to 0 and so on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's focus here on position with I equal to 5. This guy. Let's say that I is here. And we iterate over the suffix, and for every j in the suffix, this is what brute force did. For every j in this suffix, we consider that we need to take maximum out of prefix sum up to this, let's say 6, minus dp of 6. We also considered prefix sum out of up to 7 minus dp of 7. In the whole suffix, for every j, we take prefix sum of j minus dp of j. And let's say I already computed that. This is 100. Alright, then I'm moving with I to position 4, and over this longer suffix I need to compute the maximum of those differences. But if I already know this, I just need to consider this extra element. Now, prefix sum of 5 minus dp of 5, this is some value, right? Maybe 90, maybe 110. and I will just grab the maximum so far, because this suffix is something I already handled. I know the best difference, maximum. I maximize this with the difference here for position 5. So I maximize 100 with this value, and now I have, again, maximum in the suffix. That's it. Why are Alice and Bob symmetric? They have the same allowed moves, they get the same thing to their score, and they actually care about the same value. If the statement says that Bob actually starts and Alice goes second, will anything change? If not, apparently they are symmetrical. Do you think online teaching should become an industry like it has become in India, with companies like InterviewBit and Unacademy becoming big with their paid courses? That's such a hard question. On one hand, knowledge is so easy to copy, and it should be free because the humanity will gain in total. On the other hand, if you get paid as an educator, you can spend more time on this, and thus you can create better content. So, I don't think that education should be free, and that's it. Like, all the education in the world should be free, because then there will be no innovation. Nobody will be incentivized, at least financially. They won't be incentivized to create something better. Like, if I don't get paid at all about anything I do, then I will not do what I do, because I need to live in some way, right? Otherwise I can maybe spend an evening or two on making videos, but that's it. If I get anything for it, then sure, it actually allows me to work in education. So same thing in bigger scale. So in case of, I don't know about InterviewBit, but Unacademy, I think it's mainly courses where you have a group lesson with a teacher and you can ask questions live. It makes a lot of sense that this is paid, because somebody spends their time actively. It's not that you get access to a course, right? The lessons with a teacher live can be more expensive than just getting a course. A course will be anything from, I don't know, $1 to $100. Of course, there are also courses for $500, and very rarely it makes sense why it's that expensive. Same with book. A book can cost $50, but very rarely it should cost $500. It's cool that there are free resources. I also make a lot of free resources. And I also think it's fine if there is something paid. It's up to you to use stuff, and you're fine without paid courses. Can you explicitly write out that state transition? It's written here. This was the brute force, and now this is linear solution. What do I do for a living? I teach. For example, I give private lessons. Online teaching, like having someone to tell you what to Google. Look, it's not only like that. Now, what we're doing right now, I'm solving this problem stone game. Well, there is a solution here. No, actually there is no solution, but for sure there is a discuss section. And you can go through that. And what's the advantage of watching this stream? Well, the advantage is that it's a video format. So maybe not advantage, it's different. It's for sure different. You will spend more time watching me explaining something, explaining a problem. Maybe we're spending here 20 minutes, while you can read this in 5 minutes. right? Because this is the solution. It's treat this maybe as also possible summary of the stream, maybe, if that's really the same solution. Now, so you can choose whichever format you prefer in terms of it's easier for you to understand, or you later feel that you understood it better, you understand it, later you could recreate the solution if you see a similar problem. What's the advantage of small paid group classes or private one-on-one classes is that then you can ask a lot of questions and we can talk about the problem. So of course it has some bigger value. It's not that it doesn't make sense if somebody once will write down the solution. And here, when you want to solve such a problem or when you want to prepare for an interview, yes, there is Googling some parts, but the main flow is that you focus on a problem. For 1 hour, you're solving a problem. And then it's good if you can access some hints and if you can access very well written solution and like with good examples, and perfectly you should be able to ask questions, right? Because maybe you don't understand why did this work, what's the proof for that. It's not about Googling, you cannot Google that. Khan Academy does blah blah blah, live off of donations. Yeah, donations are also something, but they only work at some scale. The bigger the better. For example, if I taught math, I think I would live off of donations. If I had a math channel, something that thousands of people could watch, maybe even live, I would have, let's say, 5 times bigger audience, then I would just assume that I can live off of donations. Competitive programming or interviews are smaller than math. Fewer people can watch. If education will not be free, let me answer this as well. Sorry that I'm so poorly formatting the stream. If education will not be free, then there should be a regulatory body to strictly see people trying to gain money giving poor value. I think that giving poor value is more important than gaining money part. It's not evil to get money for providing content, no matter if it's poor or not. If you're providing poor value, just if you're making poor content, it's kind of bad no matter what, right? And this regulatory body is just people and reviews. I think that reviews are there to be that regulatory body. And for example, in competitive programming, who has the right to say what's good and not? The community. People who are good can say if they like the content or not. Live classes soon? I think not. So yeah, I also announced that in YouTube video actually. I had that idea of 10 to 15 person groups, very cheap. I will not do that for now. Instead, it's 3-4 person groups, and that's expensive. So I only want to get a few people out of those thousands watching. It's $60 per hour. If you're interested in that, this is my email. I can teach you competitive programming or interviews. Course of competitive programming. You don't need for sure anything paid in competitive programming, including my classes. They are just to slightly speed you up for you to be able to ask questions and get answers, very good quality answers. Why don't I upload the regular videos on Ericto channel? I do. It's like once a week. I do that when I have time. Okay, I want to get back to this, so quickly going through the chat, skipping some questions, sorry. Natural language processing and machine learning? No, I don't know that. Those are online lessons, by the way. This is online thing. Okay, scrolling through the chat, scrolling. Going off track too much indeed. Segment 3, I will not talk about segment 3s today. No, I don't take donations. Okay, and now I'm done reading the chat. The last thing I'm going to answer is this. Video game streamers earn so much just from donations, not teachers. On one hand, I agree, it's sad. On the other, that's the market. If somebody provides entertainment for thousands or millions, they will get a lot of money because that kind of entertainment generates a lot of money. That's just fair. Same with, professionals, sport people doing sport. Also, that depends on actually what they're doing, whether it's football or throwing darts. It's a completely different audience. And it's up to you if you're young to maybe be incentivized like that, and you can of course try football, but then it's very hard. Millions of people in the world will try football, and only few of them will earn millions. And here, video game streamers. Top 0.1% of video game streamers. Actually, I will tell you this. Median of game streamer salary or earnings is much smaller because it's like $0. Median of programming teacher, streamer or something, I think it's above $0. If you want to choose one of those two, believe me that you want to be a programming teacher. Median just means that, sure, there are some people who do very well, but it's tiny fraction. $60 per hour cost per month, too costly? Well, yes, it's expensive. But think from my side, I'm also quite good. And you get a lot for free. Right, went off track a lot. So we talked how to solve this in linear time. Should I implement? I guess it will take only a minute to implement, so let's do that. Congrats for Kickstart, thank you. I actually sometimes feel discouraged by this. Why this price is so expensive? It makes me want to just go and be a software engineer, where I can earn more than I'm earning currently. Okay, prefix sums. Prefix sums is something we needed. There is some out of bounds error here, but I will fix it later. This is how we can compute prefix sums, and then we do exactly this. Yep, and the last thing is the out of bounds here. If I is 0, then 0 otherwise this. That's the only fix. Oh. If you envy, by the way, top game streamers, you're free to try it yourself, but it's actually very hard, very skill requiring. You need to be so entertaining. DP not created. Let's create DP. This problem I think can be solved in constant extra memory, but we will skip that. Signed overflow, maybe because of that. No, wait, why? Why was there an overflow? App development. I will not give you any advice. I don't really do app development. So parse, you need to go somewhere else. Calculate prefix sums using STL partial sum. Is it faster than what I did? A lot of things are now possible in one line in C++, just like they are in Python. An example of that is IOTA, I-O-T-A. It fills with values 0, 1, 2, 3 up to n-1. But it's so easy to just use a for loop that I use a for loop. Line 14. Here there's something wrong. Why? I think I know. We need to start from n-1 to already then update max suffix. And here if I is not n-1. For n-1, dp of that is just 0. We don't make any move. If I is not n-1, then we make a move. And we choose the max suffix. $500K in trading companies. You know, that's a tempting possibility. I had some internships, and the best internship I had was high-frequency trading. Consider it a recommendation of a company, if you like. There is IMTech in Moscow. I guess that other companies will be similar. There is IMTech in Moscow. It's a high-frequency trading company, and I was an intern there for one summer, and it was very nice. Out of the software engineer-ish jobs I had, this was the best. And if I wanted to go full-time somewhere, it would be IMTech. Or maybe something similar, you know, like Jane Street or G Research. For sure I would need to learn some more math. I'm good at math, but not... I would need to maybe learn a little bit more, but, or, you know, in a job for years I would get better. And yeah, I think I would earn a lot there. If my goal in life was only money, then I would go high frequency, maybe not high frequency trading. I would go trading to some company. Sahil, it doesn't matter what's actually your currency. It matters what's your average salary or salary. If suddenly USA said that every dollar is changed into $100, so every dollar would be 100 times less expensive, it wouldn't make them more poor. It would just add extra to zeros everywhere. So, you know, don't say that $60 is actually 4,000 bucks for you. What I understand is that there are a lot of countries, actually including Poland, where $60 per hour can be a lot. And here's the thing, you don't need to take those classes. So you're trying to explain me that why you will not take them. I understand. Today's LeetCode challenge. I don't want to take the LeetCode challenge because if it's ongoing, then I will spoil your solutions. I don't think we should discuss the ongoing LeetCode challenge. FOMO missing out half the stream. That's unusual. What else do we do? Previously, somebody suggested binary search problem. 18 Bob suggested something. I'm just scrolling the chat up. The chat is actually very active today. And that's very nice. In Twitch, can somebody tell me, in Twitch, does it matter for the Twitch algorithm? If people are more active in the chat, then will more people get recommended the given stream, or does it only depend on the number of viewers? Every sublist has at least one element in it which occurs exactly once in a sublist. Oh, I think I'm too stupid to understand this statement. Whether every sublist has at least one element in it which occurs exactly once. Okay, I see. And they ask, is there an interval, like this maybe, where every element appears at least twice? Or doesn't appear at all? Like here, this range is bad because there is a 0 here and there is a 4 here. We're trying to find something where every element will occur at least twice. This is not the case. This is not the case because 4 appears only once. But here, 2, 2 is a good such interval. And when we find something like this, where every element occurs at least twice, we print false, or we return false. I think I remember this problem, and I did it during a stream, and it was very difficult. But I don't remember the solution. Just viewers, all right. That's regarding my question about chat, whether active chat is important. Guys, use English only, please. They do recommend some vote based on your viewing history, but otherwise no recommendations on live streamers. Right. View your submission. Oh, accepted 8 months ago. So what do we do? A recursive solution. Oh, I have a segment. Maybe that is another solution I tried. But I used the segment tree. Okay. They don't use a segment tree, but still the solution is quite difficult. Yeah, I'm not doing this. You can, if you want, you can find my stream or contest from 8 months ago. I don't see the exact day, but I guess you will find something there. Here you go. Somebody found it in the chat. Thank you. Thank you, Sovrax. It's here. This is screencast from a contest. All right. I was third. Famous interview problem. You can try. K digits. I think I tried it already. Smallest possible integer after removing k digits from them. I can show you how to approach such problems in general. Oh, I solved it too. Suffering from success, I guess. Too many problems I already solved. Whenever you need to find smallest possible integer doing something, you need to first minimize the length, but then secondarily you look at the first digit and you wonder how small it can be. So to solve this problem, you need to do something like, can I put 1 as the first digit? And then put all the other digits. If no, then can I put 2 as the first digit? Can I achieve this? Can I remove k digits in this number so that I can have 2 as the first digit. Let's say that yes, that's possible. Then you try 0 as the second digit. If you succeed, you try 0 as the third digit. Failed, try 1. Failed, try 2. Failed, try 3, and so on. Depending on the problem, it changes how exactly we will check if we can start a number, for example, here with 203. Stop spamming. I don't like it. Don't spam the chat. Sometimes I have time to answer, sometimes I don't. How do I know Radosh? We were together in an ICPC team. Which university is best? I don't know. University of Warsaw is very good. Come to my college? Do you want me to be a student in your college? If you're talking about general talks, I'm looking for another problem. Somebody suggested this thing. If you're talking about a talk, then I don't like not open talks. I prefer to do stuff on YouTube for everybody rather than for a smaller group. But on my YouTube channel you will find my email if you want to give me a particular proposal. Invite me somewhere, I don't know. We need to create a superstring. So you're given strings and you need to create something that contains all of them. There are at most 12 strings, and when it's so small we should consider for sure n factorial complexity, which is around 100 million. That might be too slow. No, it's bigger than that. 12 factorial is more than 1 billion. Yeah. Then what we need is apparently 10 to 12 power. Don't come here, huge COVID cases. I'm of course very sad about a lot of cases there, but also I wasn't going to come right now in this situation. Right now online talks are preferred over on-site ones, that's for sure. If something can be replaced with an online thing, right now it usually should, at least for the next few months. ICPC 2021? No, I am too old. Okay, so how do we solve this problem? Oh, I don't have submissions. If we are done with some strings already, we can mark them as done. Then if, for example, you have 5 words and you already created some part of the string and you contain first, third and fifth strings, you can represent it as such binary mask, where 1 means that this string is taken. There are 2 to 5, or in general 2 to n possible states, and for each of them you have some string already built. You want to, of course, make it as short as possible, and then you try to add some characters to contain the next string. There are some details here that I don't want to really discuss, but the main idea is this. Do you think it makes sense to sometimes provide a less efficient solution? Of course. Every coding interview guide will tell you that. Any article or something like that. If you Google tips on interviews, everywhere they say that you should do this. If you don't see the optimal solution immediately, explain something, explain the brute force. Also because not only it buys you time, but also it can help you moving towards the real solution. So yes, definitely yes. Okay, you get timeout. I already told you not to use Hindi. Actually, I don't even know if it's Hindi. Use English. How many times can you can just dp the brute force to get something better? Oh, many times, yeah. That's right. There are many cases where you start with brute force and then you say, oh, here we do a lot of repeated work, we can just improve it like this with suffix maximum. Already we did that today. In some other case you will see, oh, this is just dp if I add memoization. Yeah, I will code this. I don't want this stream to just be Q&A. Initially, I have an empty string and it covers none of those strings. N is the number of strings I need to cover. It is up to 12. Also, I'm giving you the link, now that I remember. Explain easy solution for Google Kickstart problem A. Isn't there editorial? I think there is editorial. Dark mode on LeetCode. I'm cheating here. I have a plugin. Dark Reader, it's called. It's not LeetCode dark mode. Okay, by default it's this, and dp of just mask representing all zeros, so just 0, is an empty string. Maybe we should mark in some way that this is done. Whatever. Okay. Going through all the masks, all the states. This for loop has complexity 2 at power n. We now are able to cover strings represented by this binary mask, and the string kept here is the string we built so far. And very poor way to handle this would be to iterate over the next string you want and say that S concatenated with this string is what we have. Maybe let's say this first. Mask with this bit turned on is just this string. At the end, return dp of all the ones, which you can get like this. This is stupid, wrong, and don't do that. If we run code, I think it will work for the first test, because it will just merge all the strings, like it will put them next to each other. dp should be an array of strings. Right now my code doesn't understand at all that there are some common parts between two strings. What we should really do is, when we see a common part, we shouldn't really add so much. And this is actually worse than I expected. LeetCode, love Alex LeetCode. Why is LeetCode there twice? Only if this bit is not on right now, then do this. Otherwise, you're changing yourself. I messed up. Brackets, the number of brackets. This is how you can check if this bit on position I, is off. Now my code will always just concatenate the strings from the input. And instead here, I don't want to concatenate, I want to see how much I need to add at the end to make this string appear. If I need to, let's say, now make this string to appear, kata, and already I have maka, I don't know what that means, then I need to only here add 2 characters. What's one of the ways to handle that? And it's very general, so good. I will wonder how long suffix of this new string, this is I want to get this, then I will add some suffix of that. So I will wonder how long suffix I need to append to my current string to actually make it appear. Also, it's possible that kata is already somewhere as substring of the current string. Maybe there was another word, another string in given words, and it made me create some long string, and inside there is kata. I also need to detect this. I think it can be handled with just one case, but it's tricky, so I will do 2 cases. If current string s contains words of I, then we can just, the new string, what do I want? Okay, s plus words of I. This is what new string I need. In this case, s2 is just s, and also I iterate over how big suffix I want to add. Well, if this happened, then this is the best possibility, but otherwise I iterate over how long suffix of kata I'm adding to my current string. Not I, this can be j. Starting from j, I'm now focusing on this string kata, words of I, and now I'm thinking, if I just add a to the current string s, will that be enough? I'm trying to add words of I of j until the end, so string, let's say maybe, is from j to the end, and s. If maybe contains words of I, like I wanted, then s2 is s. Actually, I should minimize. Well, I can do break, I guess. No. Now how to do this? There is a function substring, I think. Starting from position j until the end, this should work. I need to create function contains to check if one string contains another. All of that. And then s2 is that string I can have if its length is shorter than the current length of dp of this. Then overwrite with some extra cases too. I found the best possibility of my current string plus I add some few extra characters, and I say if what I found is shorter than the best I found so far for this mask, then I override. Here actually I will create a temporary variable to make this code nicer, because I need to say also if tmp is empty, if this was never touched, never initialized to something else. And also I'm doing that because it means actually I don't see any string giving me this mask. And the last thing is function contains, that's easy. I'm using constant ampersand just for the sake of speed, but that's not really important. For every possible starting position in A, we need to check if substring starting here, and now here I'm passing, I think, length. I'm not sure. It's equal b. Then yes, we contain it. I'm not sure about the function substring. I would need to Google the C in C++ reference. What do you want? Guess plus plus. Sorry, you don't see it. Should be better now. Not really, I hid it again. Here you go. I find B? Really? I can find string, not a character in another string? Line 28. Shouldn't S2 be equal maybe? Oh, you're right, you're right. Maybe it was the candidate, and if it's a good candidate, then indeed I overwrite like that. It's KMP underneath. KMP is much faster algorithm, but we don't need to be fast here with such small constraints. Contains. I will go with contains. KMP algorithm for coding interviews? No, don't learn it. If the company you apply to knows anything about interviews, they shouldn't ask you KMP. Did I write contains in some other place? Contains. Now I want run example test cases. No, I want to run example test cases, all 2 of them. Okay, this is of proper length. Then I think we are done. The complexity is 2 to nth power times some small polynomial. Everything else depends on small values like 12 and 20, so shouldn't be too bad. I expected something shorter than I created. I'm not very surprised, but I hope that this will work. What I got is by 1 character longer than what they think, what they say it's the optimal. Def, use English. Lint code. Isn't lint code some kind of, illegal website where they just copy stuff from lint code? Min directed spanning tree? What? Why? Can you brief the idea once again? If I know for some subset of the strings, let's say first, third, and fifth, what's the shortest string I can create, what's the shortest substring I can create to include those, then I try to add some new characters to include 1 more string. The issue happens if for some 3 strings, actually I can reorder them differently, and instead of optimizing just the current length, I should also care about what's at the end, and this way it will be easier for me to add a 4th string. If that's the case, then yep, I'm unlucky and we cannot solve the problem like this. I just thought that it will be 2 to nth power dp because of the limits. This limit is too big for n factorial. The alternative I see is to make TSP out of it. We can treat this problem as TSP, traveling salesman problem, but it will require some extra steps. If we see, mostly what I will do is, if I focus on every pair of strings, let's say this one and then il-x something, okay? So fevlutui, then il-x blah blah blah, and I see what intersection they have. Here it's intersection of 2, and then the problem becomes reorder their strings in such a way to maximize the total intersection, to maximize the saved amount. That's equivalent to minimizing the length you will have. You want to have big common parts. This requires removing substrings first. If one string is substring of the other, so like say kata kata and attack with C, then attack can just be removed from the input completely. I can forget about it. If I remove such substrings of other strings, then indeed I can say that always it's just having a string and then having the next string where they have some intersection. Maybe the first string I will use is task something. Solution with try. I don't know how it would help. It's not that you care a lot about prefixes of those strings. Suffixes are important too. Even for, if you want to try some other structure like try, think how try would help even for 2 strings. If you want to put 2 strings next to each other to have big intersection, will try help? If yes, then sure, that's a good idea. If no, then don't use try. They already provide that condition. No string in words is a substring of another string. Okay, if that's the case, then yep, we don't need that. So I will now use TSP. So this DP solution was wrong because, why was it wrong? Because when looking at some subset, it's not enough to care about minimizing, it's not enough to minimize length of string made out of few chosen substrings from words, because instead you should maybe sometimes reorder them, even creating something longer, but this way making it easier to continue with some other string. This is why my solution was wrong. Now instead we will just use TSP. In TSP, the current state, the state is the mask and the current vertex, the current node vertex. What was the last string we added? We can even add it here and it will be then TSP. This is how we solve TSP. If you want to know more about it, then just Google traveling salesman problem and you will find a solution with 2 at nth power dynamic programming. Right, so let's modify this. Now dp will be of size 2 at nth power by n. We can start with any string. This is equal to just this string. And always when I know what that some strings I already used, and then there is some last one, then I will just focus on this guy and I continue. For every mask, for every last. Of course, well, how to handle that? If last is not on here, then it's not a valid state. If you say that the last used string was that second one, but the second one isn't used according to the bit mask, then something is wrong. Also at the end, return the shortest out of strings representing the full all strings being used. If this guy length is shorter, last answer, then overwrite and now we need to modify this. Obviously we iterate over the next to use. If this, sure, then now it's enough instead of s to focus on the string last, but okay, let's continue like that. If contains, then this, otherwise I try to, is this even possible? No, that's not possible. I don't care about cases where something appeared by coincidence. I just always move part by part. Okay, now check how many I need to add characters to have this string at the end. And I think that's it. Right, 52 wrong types. Answer.length, of course. We compare lengths. I see something shorter than answer, then I overwrite. I understand if it's maybe this. I think it's hard to understand. It should be hard to understand why now this works and the previous code didn't. I explained at the top, now I removed it, sorry, why the previous code didn't work. Because when we are done with few strings, it actually matters how we reorder them. Because we continue building to the right, it matters what's actually the last string. So when you used, let's say, for mask 10101, which means you used first, third, and fifth substring string from the input, not only you should minimize the length, but you also care what's at the end, because maybe the third string is very then convenient to expand with few characters, and then you will include second string, and that will be optimal. This is why the state is described by the mask, and information which out of those ones, which of them is the last one used. We got time limit exceeded. So maybe we just need to be a little bit faster. The substring function isn't that fast because it's linear. Instead, it's better on average to just do a for loop here. Let's actually try with for loop. Maybe it will be enough. Fingers crossed. This function still, it checks if one string contains another. But time exceeded. Okay, next thing, when I'm saying that, okay, I am adding this suffix, I'm adding this only to make it appear at the end. So I shouldn't here check if this contains, I should just check if the suffix works. If I have this string, and now I want to make the LFAB to appear. When I add here at the end AB, those are two new characters. It's not that I should look for LFAB in the whole string. I look for it here at the end. So for this contains, by the way, is that the only occurrence of contains? Yes, it is. So I should only check if suffix matches. So contains should just check the suffix. This should be equality. So much simpler. We're just checking if the suffix of A is equal to B. I should have clicked run example tests instead of this, because this only judges for the first sample test. Yeah, it should be, I should indeed rename it. Ends with. Good point, Darsh and Cool. Again, I clicked run code instead of run for all test cases. Multiple global maxima. Well, you can submit indeed. This is the link to the problem. I don't see an answer I don't see an issue with multiple global maxima. Still time limit exceeded. Why? We don't really need to create this string, or we can make it shorter. Words of last. We don't really need to look at everything, but only here we can override. Maybe it will help. No, I don't pass now. I don't create here a long string every time. I think the new code should be like 10 times faster. Actually, if I just copy this single test case, this will work fast enough, right? There are many test cases. Yes, it works in 1 second for one test. 2 at nth power times n times n times n, I guess. Makes sense that it's not very fast. I will not create S2 at all. And here I see that this is candidate for the answer. I will first check if the length of this is shorter than tmp.length, or tmp was empty. in those two cases, I indeed overwrite. This substring also, I don't need to create that, it will be then constant. Like this. And now, if I get substring starting from position J, then the length I get is the length of everything minus J. Yes, exactly that. No, I didn't want that. Here I need that, but here in the length I just can use this. What am I doing? This length of words of I starting from J. It's words of I dot length minus J. Okay, a little bit faster again. Yeah, it's 2 at nth power times n times n times here I sometimes create a string of length n2. Or here actually I create something even longer. They have an error in their own code, in their pragma. Sorry, I need to use smaller font because something is wrong. No. What about that? Yeah, I missed that closing bracket. And now I messed up. I have very long string, sadly. If TMP is empty, if this expanded by that, now if current length of s plus the length of this suffix to add, so I should, it's bad to work with unsigned ints. They are very dangerous in C++. Still, add parentheses. Oh, but I don't need a parenthesis here. It's empty or A is smaller than B. That's fine. Maybe you got to compute the suffix prefix table for every pair of words. Good work, a good idea. Squirrel, that's a very, very good idea. Because here, for every pair of words, multiple times I see what's their intersection. I should just create a two-dimensional table. You're right. Just first, let me debug this. Is this break correct? I'm going from starting from the best. Just in case I will remove the break, but I don't think that matters. TMP is maybe? No, maybe it's just a temporary thing, like shorter one, it's shorter than S. Problem at line 16? No. I'm checking if all the characters match. If I didn't find a mismatch, then I return true. There is a match. I messed up something here because it stopped working now. It worked 2 minutes ago. Are keyless? Yes, I'm aware that it's longest weighted path, so it's like TSP. This is why I use this at all. It's like TSP. Substring of J. Thank you. Lakshay, you're the best. And this here, it didn't even allow me to choose run all test cases. It's a little bit faster, but still like 1 second. Okay, now let's submit to see time limit exceeded rather than wrong answer. Line 38. What's line 38? Yeah, TMP is the answer so far we found for that state. If it's empty, it means we didn't find anything, so we should overwrite. Or if length we see now is better than its length. Still, now what I need is, unless this is the slow part, I'm not really sure. Because we can add something very hard here to reconstruct the path rather than keep this. KMP better? KMP doesn't matter, I will pre-compute the two-dimensional array. Let's say need to add. I wonder how many characters I need to add to A in order to make it contain B. This will be such pre-processing. Then here I will have need is, I will use need of, previous one was this, and now I'm using string number I. We will use this value if we pre-compute it here. How to pre-compute? Well, it shouldn't be hard. For every starting position in string B, if ends with A plus B substring. Okay. Comma B. Also, this can be done even easier, but now it doesn't matter. If this, then need of ij. So how many we need to add? I think that many. Right. If we start from the last position, then we add this. How many characters to add to the first string in order to create the second string? If TMP is empty, or s.length plus need smaller than TMP length. In both those cases, we override and we add words of I substring of something. What is that? I think it's words of I.length minus the need. If we need to add 2 characters, we start taking from length minus 2, like n minus 2. And that should work. Of course, now my code is a mess. Binary search.io problems are significantly harder than lead code was. I messed up again. But actually, if you remove this, the main code here is not that long. So first, is this computed well? From I to J, so from A to B, we iterate over how many things to insert from B. We start from that position. We check if this guy contains the full B. If that's the case, then the difference is how many we need to add. Forgot a break? Good point. Thank you, the Denary. It's so convenient actually to stream. There are now what, 200 people in total? Whoa, we have 130 on YouTube. That's awesome. So almost 300 people can debug. Accepted. Now we can submit. Should be a little bit faster. Okay, accepted. Actually, wait, this is not binary search, this is lead code problem. then it's a very hard LeetCode problem. TSP, yeah. And there is one more thing that I can add to speed this up. This is already accepted, so yeah, hooray, yay, okay, exactly, I agree. But what we can do is, let's remove this. This is the current code. Instead of actually overwriting the string, I can just say how to reconstruct the path. Because the string, it gets long, and I keep copying this string. That's bad. It would be enough instead to say that TMP is a pair, where first we say what's the length of the string, and the length is this, and some other information. Let's say we also store how many last characters we use of this string, and then what's the previous state, what's the previous string used. Now let's see an example to understand what I did. If I have state like that, comma, let's say 4. 4 corresponds to this index. And from this, I will increase the font. From this, you move to state 11101, comma 1. Yeah, so you added this, position 1, move like that. Now for this new state, instead of remembering the whole long string that you want at the end to output, you just remember for this state that right now you added, let's say, 10 characters, and, or no, the string has in total length 50, you added now 10 characters, and the previous state was this. So in particular, we could remember previous state. Then at the end, we will move backwards, going from this state to the previous state, and so on, and we will reconstruct the string. This way, there is no need to copy the full string S, which might get long. Its length is as long as the sum of all the strings. That's like of 100 or so. We can avoid it, making our code much faster. Like that. But then this is not string, this is array of size 3. Is this how to do that? I don't remember. Sorry, but what the fuck? Control Z, please. What was that functionality? Now, every state will be described by an array of size 3, and no, here. How to initialize. So all of that is optional. It's not needed. I already got accepted, but let's see a faster solution. Let's try to make it very, very fast without copying any strings. This state is, what did I say? Total length, added now, and previous node. Same with TSP. In TSP, you don't need to remember the whole path, just the previous step, and then you will reconstruct your steps from the end. Words of i.length, words of i.length, and previous node is -1. Previous node doesn't exist. Okay, F9 creates this strange thing. F9 in my local IDE, it compiles. I'm not sure if this is proper. If somebody knows, please tell me how to use array of size 3 like that. Can I initialize it automatically? Hmm. Can I do that at least? I don't really have experience with this. I know how to use vector of size 3. Actually, vector of size 3 will be more convenient, even though a little bit slower. And first is length. I will initialize it as infinity. And yeah, this should work. Now, please. What do you want? Maybe I need to cast, but I doubt it. I can use tuple. Yeah, but if it's all ints, then array is better. Length returns long. It actually returns unsigned int. But something else happens here. No viable conversion from this complicated type to string? Why string? What do you want? Words of I size? No, length is available for strings. I don't understand this. Maybe it didn't understand that it's this vector. Oh, this error is not for this line. It says what happens here. Okay, never mind. Now, let's continue. Now, we don't use the string. But what we do is we continue like that. As TMP we have this. If as length, not as length, dpfi mask last.0, if that's smaller than TMP of 0, then we override, and that's this guy. So length of everything, comma, how many we need, comma last. Yes, that's fine. Now we need to find the best final state and to reconstruct the steps, which is annoying, but again, that was not necessary. We already got accepted. We are doing something extra to get very good running time. We find the best state. Starting mask is this. The last node is best at second. And we keep moving from this. Also we can, I guess, I don't know how to print it here. Last 0. Maybe see out, I don't really. My code will print what length it found, at least what it thinks is the length it found, and then while mask is not 0, we keep reconstructing the steps. Also we need to create some string out of this. So how many we need, let's call it k, is this, right? Yeah. Words of last. substring starting at here. So I add this string at the beginning of the string because I go backwards, and also mask XOR this guy because it's no longer here. New mask will be, no, new mask is this. New last will be dp of mask last and 2. That's the previous node. Please work because I don't want to debug this. Did I print two different values? Oh, those are two different tests. Right. I think I passed this, submit. And I believe that this will be much faster. I expected better. It's not really that much faster. Maybe now the memory became a bottleneck because I use vectors. We can try to improve that with arrays because vectors have overhead. We improved like twice. Well, in this bottleneck place, instead of using string of length, 100, we use just 3 ints. But vector of size 3 maybe just overhead is too big. So one last hack. I will create a global array. Like this. Infinity, and I think that's it, right? Now the idea, vectors, I cannot now do this, and same here. Can I use assign to arrays like this? I cannot, right? Well done. A little bit more typing, but let's hope to get below 100 milliseconds. Not that it's important, it's just a practice thing. That's one, and the other is here. Instead of TMP, I need to use this. With vectors, it was much nicer. With tuples or arrays, like A-R-R-A-Y, it would be better, shorter. Here I don't even know if I maybe messed up something. But I really believe that bottleneck is memory now. 100 milliseconds, please. Nice. Okay, 44 indeed. So memory was the bottleneck. In C++, when you use a lot of very small vectors, like here we had vectors of size 3, the overhead was huge. Also the overhead of just creating this memory over and over again every time. Now, much, much better. And that's it, right? Now the bottleneck is what? Here, then there is an if. This you will not improve by a lot. That's the best I can do. 44 milliseconds. Faster than 85%. If we want better memory, we can use shorts. Right? Short is enough? It should be. Okay. That's really stupid. No, really, you don't gain anything by doing this. But who cares? So now this short will handle values up to 30,000, right? I think somewhere I used int max. it will not affect the speed, at least not by a lot. Maybe can do like 1% difference because of cache, but other than that it will be irrelevant. I didn't even improve the memory. Why didn't I improve the memory? I don't know. I thought it will be twice better. Maybe not. This is irrelevant. It's much smaller than this big array up. This is 10 by 10. This is 4000 by 10. I don't know. Alright, that's it. We're already wasting time for the past half an hour. It's some exercise for me, sure, but you don't need something like this for interviews. Cout, it doesn't matter if I use it only twice, you know. Here I have 2 operations, everything else are thousands of operations. So cout cannot hurt unless they run my solution for millions of tests with n equal to 1. Where this thing is anyway fast and the bottleneck becomes really flashing the output here. I doubt it. Just for, if you want, I can do this, but really any kind of difference here by like 10%, that's just fluctuation. It's not real. It got worse, but really it's just fluctuations. Okay, that's 2 hours, so we can wrap it up. Thank you everybody for watching. Next week also, not Saturday, but on Sunday, I will do such a stream. Right, it will be normal day, I guess so. Tomorrow is quite interesting Codeforces contest in 20 hours from now. So tomorrow minus 3.5 hours. It's announced here. 200 t-shirts, PlayStation 5 to win. I wonder if actually they have it in stock. I participated in a contest where they gave like 8 or 10 PS5s, it was months ago, to winners, and I didn't win. I was 1 place below, which was very sad, but my friend was in top 8. He should get PS5, but then after weeks or maybe months they said we still can't get hands on any of those. Can we just get you Amazon gift card? Because they couldn't buy PlayStation 5. This is how hard the situation is right now, where you cannot buy anything, GPUs or consoles. Crazy stuff. I guess Amazon gift card is also fine. Though if you live in Poland, you don't really, it's not that convenient to buy from Amazon than if you were in USA. In USA you can get anything from Amazon. In Poland, Amazon only starts being here and selling stuff. Of course, here first place is not something, it's something I would want, but it's not something I will get. First place in Codeforces round is very difficult, but hey, t-shirt. I don't get that many t-shirts nowadays. Do I follow football? No. Recently I watched F1. In particular, I watched it today, during Open Cup, a little bit. Ericto, no meaning. It has no meaning, just a bunch of random characters, and I wish I chose something else because Ericto is so hard to pronounce. And people don't remember it, they misspell it. Very bad nickname, don't choose something like that. If I could choose again, I would choose even like Eric underscore toe, whatever. At least people would remember that and they would know exactly how to spell. And my name isn't Eric anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. Alright, thank you for watching. Have a nice evening or a day, depending on your time zone. Bye bye.